opportunity, and Michelle, we're here to not just be advocates, but also delight in the fact that our queen is here to help the cause. For later po, I do have a press kit that I can give you. There is a QR code that I can share, so just let me know if you're interested in that. So now I would like to hand off the mic to Michelle, who needs no introduction. She's going to walk through, walk through, not rampa, but this is a unique opportunity for our job applicants on the autism spectrum to hear from a pageant, a seasoned pageant queen on how to put your best foot forward. Many of you know that autism comes with challenges in socialization and communication, so this is a valuable time to hear from one of the best. Michelle.
Thank you so much, Miss Mona, and good morning to everyone that's here. Thank you so much for spending your morning with us. I'm sure, for some of us, maybe we like sleeping, but this is an amazing cause, and we're here to celebrate and to really promote inclusivity around the workplace and also around the Philippines. As you all know, I am a lifelong advocate for autism awareness, acceptance, and of course, empowerment. So just to be here, seeing all of you ready to make the next step into your careers and to have a better life's purpose, it's just such an amazing feeling. So like Ms. Mona said, I am here to talk about how to put your best self forward. And believe it or not, I am not perfect. I've always believed that progress is what we should aspire to achieve, not perfection. So I have a few tips to share with all of you, and these are essential, especially because I use them in my day-to-day life. Also, I can use these in my acting career, my beauty pageant career, in my social settings, and of course, whenever I take interviews. And this is actually something I practice even today, because I am in front of such a large crowd talking about something that is very important to me, so you don't want to mess that up. But here are just a few tips that I hope all of you can take to heart. Simple lang naman. Six tips. Very, very simple. Something that you can apply in anything. Okay, so number 1. Ready na ba?
Ready na po.
Okay. So the first tip is that preparedness or preparation is key. So we're all applying for a job. That's our context today. And it's important to do research on what you're applying for, what you're trying to interview. And if you're not sure, of course, we have people, representatives that have asked you to come in, maybe to take an interview, and you can always ask the HR or that representative on how maybe an interview is going to be, how the kind of questions might be. But what's important is that you come prepared, you do your research, and that, of course, we all stay professional. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Number 2. Communication is also very, very important. And what are my tips when we're communicating? Of course, this is one of the biggest aspects in pageantry, communication skills, and we have to become very, very concise and clear with what we're saying. So we don't want to blabber about something that is unrelated to the topic or the agenda that we have, but we always have to be clear and concise. But also, we also have to embrace our authenticity. We don't want to try and be somebody else. As my mother would always say, shine as your own person. So you don't want to pretend. Just let that individuality shine. And of course, who here, is this the first time for everybody? Or
Interview.
for interview?
First job interview?
No, it's not my
No,
first
not
job.
really. Season interviewees.
Maybe table should be turned and that I can take tips from all of you. Okay, so whenever I am on a pageant stage, believe it or not, my nerves are actually at its peak right before I step on the stage. So I don't have stage fright when I'm there. One of my best qualities, I believe, that I took after my mom is grace under pressure. So even if I'm kinakabahan, I can still seem as if I'm not. Especially when the Q&A is about to happen, you really have to take a deep breath and relax, trust the process, trust the training, and you know, everything, all of that hard work will come into fruition, of course. But my next tip is body language. What is important in body language? Who here has mental notes with themselves on how we should act physically towards an interviewer or social settings?
I do. As much as possible, try not to be movement. Do not use too much movement.
Correct.
You shouldn't. Like I'm doing, I'm already fidgeting right now. I'm sorry.
Just breathe and relax.
As much as possible, try not to be too flighty. If you're gonna have to have movements, make sure that it's related to what you're saying. In a way, like
Correct.
it's
Like
not-
self-expression or when you're explaining something. Yeah,
Like,
that's very true.
Like you shouldn't just be pointing because of something.
Right. So you have to be conscious and self-aware, and those are very important things. But also, I always, when I was first starting my acting career actually, I always found it hard to look at my co-actors in the eye. So two things, especially in a corporate interview setting, is to always maintain eye contact and to have a firm handshake. So handshake, especially in a corporate setting, is very, very important. You don't want to have a flimsical handshake. You want to make sure the two flaps touch, and then you can shake twice.
But if you have a stim, it's okay.
Yes, of course, that's okay also. Because body language is a really good expression of your confidence. And when we're being interviewed, you want to appear confident. Because, you know, we all have something very unique to showcase. And by showcase, that leads me to my next point. And this is actually one of the most important points, which is making sure that we showcase our strengths. Our strengths and our uniqueness. You know, it's important to note that in a work setting, and especially in this fast-paced generation where the job market is very competitive, where, you know, it's been proven difficult to find job opportunities, and especially for individuals on the autism spectrum, that challenge can be magnified. But what we have to understand, in an inclusive workplace, neurodiverse people actually have the right to also showcase their abilities and their strengths, and that might reflect into what the job is requiring. So again, we have to focus on our strengths, highlight those strengths, and people on the autism spectrum have very, very unique qualities. So just to cite some examples, my older brother, his unique quality is that he has very great pattern recognition and data analysis. And how do I see that? He can solve a 2,000-3,000 piece puzzle in maybe 4 hours. My younger brother, he is like a human calendar. He is my daily reminder. He can meet somebody for the first time, he'll ask for your name, he'll ask for your birthday, and he'll never forget it. So sometimes I wake up and he'd be like, Ate Michelle, it's Jacob's birthday today. Like, who's Jacob? Oh, you met him last year. Ah, okay. So that's his unique quality. But you know, those skills can fit in different job opportunities. But what's important is that we own our skills and that we assess where it can fit. Because there's always a place for us somewhere in this world, because the world is full of 8 billion people and we all have a secure spot as long as we stay diligent. Kuha?
Yep.
Clear? Okay. So, next. And although it might not be important, but it is very important, and this is self-care. So self-care in a sense that, of course, when you say that, you might think skincare or hygiene, also very important, but self-care in a sense that when you're about to take on a very, very important interview, you want to make sure that you're rested, that your mind is sound, that you feel prepared. You don't want to come in without any sleep and, you know, be all jittery. Especially if you haven't slept and then you had a cup of coffee, then you're extra jittery. So that's something you don't want to have. You want to make sure that your physicality and your mentality are at the right place so that you can take on a very major milestone in your life. So again, we might have different self-care practices. I personally meditate. I try to make sure that my mind is clear before taking on a big thing. Before Q&A, for my last top 5 MUPH question, I just remembered being on stage with my noise cancelling headphones and just trying to be in the moment, trying to just calm my mind, because I knew that one of the most important questions in my life were about to be asked. So I had to make sure that my mentality and my physicality was at the right place so that I can answer properly. Because I've been training like hours and hours and hours on end. But if your nerves get to you, then that's when people choke, people might get nervous, and then the message that you're trying to relay doesn't come out. So again, just make sure that we are taking care of ourselves and that we're in the right place. Okay, so my last point is something that is very, very, very important. And I believe all of us that's here in this room can relate to this. And that is rejection. Rejection is normal and rejection is okay. In life, I have actually experienced a lot of failures. There have been roles that I didn't get. There have been investments that have gone south. There have been relationships maybe that have also fallen out. But rejection is okay. And through those failures in my life, through experiencing all of these trials and tribulations, that is when I found my biggest strengths. Because that's also where you find the strength and the courage to try again, to learn something from whatever mistakes that you might have caused. And one of my biggest mottos in life is that everything in life happens for a reason. It's either a lesson or a blessing. And we have to trust that the universe will always have its unique ways of leading us towards a path that's meant for us. So again, I actually embrace failure, because before maybe I was afraid, but then I realized that for every problem that I am faced, whenever I come out of that, I come out stronger, I come out bigger, wiser, and that's something that we should all take to heart. So rejection, don't be afraid of it. If a loved one rejects you, just be like, thank you, next. You know?
Oh yeah.
Right? Amen. So those are the 6 tips that I felt really would help all of you in terms of taking on job interviews. But again, it doesn't restrict you to just job interviews, because again, I've been able to incorporate this throughout my life in social settings, in different auditions, pageantry, and many, many more social settings as well. We just have to be confident. And when you're faced in a situation where you doubt yourself, remember, when you're talking to somebody, especially in an interview, what we have to highlight is our strengths and our uniqueness, because there's no one person that will be exactly identical to another. And there's always something that's very beautiful in all of us. We just have to be confident. We have to embrace our individuality and know that there is a place in this world for all of us. So that's what I have for all of you. I'd like to say thank you to Grundfos to making such a great example, to embracing inclusivity around the world. That's one of the campaigns that I really champion. It's what I'm bringing in Miss Universe as well, is really trying to promote inclusivity around the universe, not just for individuals on the spectrum here in the Philippines, but also around the world. So I hope these proved helpful to everyone. And of course, I wish all of you the best of luck. And of course, I hope that we all come out here celebrating and happy with all smiles. And again, good morning and thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for all of that. It was very